Hello folks, and welcome back to another edition of BC Renovation Magazine. In this video I'm going to show you how I built these shutters on these windows on my project here, just to dress it up a little bit. If you're interested in that, stick around. Alright folks, so a little while ago we finished up the putting on the vinyl siding on here, and I just want to do something now to just kick it up a notch here, just take it up to the next level. You know, this looks nice. We've got the new siding and we've got the trim around the windows, but it looks kind of plain. And what I like to do is it looks to me it looks kind of cold, and so what I like to do is kind of warm up with some natural wood. You know, introducing some natural wood. So we have our decks, and they're wood, and the decks are going to get stained. So that's with a semi-transparent stain. So we're going to have, you know, wood with the green showing through, with a nice finish on it. And what I want to do is I want to take the color and the wood from the deck and bring it into the rest of the house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build these shutters, and I'm going to put them on each window. So I looked around, you know, for shutters, and I've done this before. I've built my own shutters, and I looked around this time, and a couple problems here is that, first of all, can't get anything that's the right size to fit that I want. I can't get the material that I want. Again, I want a natural wood. It's going to be stained. It's going to be stained to match the decks, so we get, you know, we get continuity in our design that way. And they're expensive. So, you know, we're looking at well, the ones that I looked at were a couple $100 a set. And I've got what have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 that I want to do. And so I'm going to make my own. Pretty much going to cost me as much for the whole set, the whole house, as it would cost to buy one set from a place like Amazon. So the boards I'm using, you know, there's this different material that you can use. You know, you can use cedar. There's, you know, other things you can use. But I'm using this treated wood. These are just fence boards. These are really cheap. They're like $5 a piece. And it's the same material as the deck, which is a pine material. And so, you know, you've got it's real wood. You know, it's got knots, it's got grain, and it's a nice material. So these fence boards, they're 5.5, so they call them 1x6, so they're 3/4 by 5.5. And I've determined that I want my shutters to be 12 inches wide. So to get 12 inches, I'm going to have to use 3 boards. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip these boards down to 4 inches, and then I'll stack 3 of them together to make one shutter. So what I'm doing here is I'm running them through my little table saw up there, and I'm just taking one edge off. Okay, so here you can see we've got the factory edge, and then here we've got the edge where I've cut it. And I'm doing that because I want to get a square edge, and I want to get a rough cut on there that's going to take some stain better. And so I'm just running through all of them, and I'm just taking off, you know, this much. That's all I'm doing. And once I get them all through, then I will set up my saw for 4-inch, and then I'll turn around and run them all through again, and then I'll have a bunch of boards that are 4 inches wide. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just going to keep going with that process. Okay, so I've got all of these boards run through the table saw twice. So my first cut was a trimming cut, and then I turned around and run them through again and rip them down to 4 inches. So now I have boards that have got good edges on both sides and are consistent at 4 inches. So like I said, these are fence boards. They're kind of rough cut. They're just meant to be on a fence, so they're nothing fancy. We can use this cheaper material and just do a little bit of work on it and just bring it up to something that's a bit nicer. We're going for a rustic look here, so we don't want to have it too we're not going to get crazy with this. But this is basically where we're going. I'm going to put 3 boards together like this, and I'm going to connect them with a batten. And then these are going to get stained with a semi-transparent stain. So the boards, these fence boards, as they come, they're not consistent in width because they're run through they're kind of well, they're just run through, and they can vary in width, and they don't pay close attention to that. So we've made them all more consistent that way. There's also on the edge there can be edge banding and things like that as well, which we just want to clean up. All right, so I've got these sorted out into piles. Each one of those piles is a window. So I'm doing 6 windows. So I have 4 windows that are the same height. Then I have my kitchen window here, which is a different height, and the little ensuite bath at the back, which is a different height as well. So I'm going to be going with 3 boards on each side of the window for each shutter. So that's 6 boards for each window. The exception is going to be the ensuite bath, because it's quite a bit narrower window. I'm only going to go with 2 boards on each side. So I've got four boards in that pile. So the next step in the process here is I'm going to get these all cut to length. Alright, so now I've been through this whole pile and cut them all to length. So I've got 4 windows the same size, and so we've got 4 piles that are the same length. And then we've got the kitchen window, which is a different size, and the little bathroom window, which is another size. And I'll tell you later in the video how I determine the length of these boards. But for right now, I'm just going to keep going here. So now I'm going to figure out the battens, the size of my battens that I want to have. So now I'm manufacturing my battens, and I've done my layout here, and so this is kind of where I'm going with the proportions on this. So this does become my little exercise in proportions to get this looking right. So I'm just going to run by you how I decided to do this. So each of my boards, I've got 3 boards, they're 4 inches wide. So I decided to make my battens half of the 4 inches, so my battens are 2 inches wide. And I set I'm going with 3 battens. Now these battens are going to help to hold the thing all together. These are going to get screwed from the back, so you won't see any screws. This is the front of it. This is what you're going to see. So I put 1 batten in the middle of the shutter, up and down, and then I place a batten 4 inches up. So again, 4-inch boards go 4 inches up and 4 inches down. So that's kind of how I've decided to do this. So I'm going to go ahead now and finish fabricating up the rest of my little batten pieces here, and then I'm going to give all of this a light sanding with some 80 grit sandpaper, just to kind of roughen it up, take that mill glaze off, and so it will take the stain a little bit better. Alright, so now I've been through the my whole little pile of material here. Got my 6 windows laid out, and I've been through them and sanded them. And I've got all my little batten boards cut and sanded there, ready to cut and install. And so, you know, I just took the sandpaper, I sanded it with some 80 grit, and just, you know, just sanded the surface of it, sanded off this edge where I sawed it, and, you know, just broke that edge. And, you know, you can see that I didn't go crazy here with the sanding. I want that sort of rustic look, so that's the look that I'm going for with mine here. And now, you know, when I, like I said before, when I put these together, I'm going to be putting, you know, 3 boards together like such. It's going to be 3, but in between where the boards touch, you know, I'm going to put them tight together. So when I stain them, I'm not going to be able to stain in between there. Now, these are probably going to shrink a little bit and open up a little bit because it's pretty green material. I'm expecting that they will, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I don't want to see that white edge if that happens. Also, if the boards move a little bit this way, I don't want to have that white edge sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead now, and before I assemble my my shutters, I'm going to stain all of these edges, just the edges, so that when they go together, we'll have stained edges together, and then that way I won't have that problem of any, you know, white wood showing through. So that's what's up next. I'm going to go through and just do all the edges on all these boards. All right, so I went ahead and got all those edges painted on all those boards. Like I showed you there. And so now I've gone ahead and I've assembled the shutters. So this is the front of the shutter, and this is one set here, and I'm ready to paint these now. And what I did with the battens is I mounted them on the top here. I used a little bit of PL400 construction adhesive, which is, I'll show you, it's this here. So I just took a bead of this. This is a construction adhesive. It's waterproof. It really sticks very well. And I just, you know, as before I screwed the board on, I just put a little bead on underneath here and then squished them together. And what I did was screwed it from the back. So this is the back side. So I run the screws through that. All right, you can see the screws there. And I've used a, so that you don't have any screws on the front then. And what I used was inch and a quarter deck screw. So it's a ceramic coated. This is a treated material. So you want to use a screw that's ACQ approved, so that it doesn't corrode on you and eventually all fall apart. That's another reason why I put the glue in there. The glue just kind of helps to hold it, you know, laterally, you know, stable. And so what I've done is, you know, on these shutters that are full length. So I've got, you know, these are the full length ones, as well as these are a bit shorter, but I've got a bunch of these. And so I've got 4-inch boards, and so what I did was I set the bottom of the board here at 4 inches up from the bottom. Okay, same thing here, 4 inches down from the top to the top of the batten, and then I place the batten. The batten is 2 inches, and then I put one in the middle, so right smack right in the middle, right? And I just squared them up, nothing to it. That's pretty easy stuff to do. And now that I have them all assembled, I'm going to go ahead and stain them. And so they'll be the, you know, all the same color as the edges. Now this is this little set that's a little bit different. And this is the set for my little bathroom, ensuite bathroom window. So because it's a smaller window, what I did was I just went with 2 boards, and then I eliminated the middle batten just otherwise it would look quite busy. So just to sort of scale things down for that little window, which is scaled down compared to the others. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and paint them and get them ready to install. And the product I'm staining this with is this product here. This is available at I don't know if you guys have them in the States. We have them in Canada. It's a store called Home Hardware, and they have their beauty tone line of paint. And this is their wood shield stain. Now you can get, there's a lot of different stains out there. A lot of people use like a Behr, B-E-H-R stain that you can get at Home Depot. I mean, it's all good stuff. I've done a lot of staining over the years, and this is the one that I prefer. Not necessarily this brand, but this type. It's a semi-transparent stain, so I get a little bit of the wood grain still showing through. I'm not looking for a solid stain where I block out, you know, all of the wood grain and you know, any of the little things in the wood. This is an oil stain, so I still believe that oil gives you the best protection long term. So this is what I'm using, and this is it's sold what's called clear. You can see natural clear here, but then they tint it, and so they've tinted it to me to this they've tinted it to this weathered brown color, which is going to give us quite a dark color. I'm looking for some contrast, and this picks up a little bit on the gray tones that we have outside, and yeah, I think it's going to look all right. All right, folks, so I'm going to wrap this video up here now. I've finished up my shutters. I got them all installed, and so you can see I've got them stained, and I've stained them with that semi-transparent stain that I showed you there. And the color is kind of it's called weathered wood, but you can see it has a bit of the gray tones, so that it ties in the gray tones. And so that's my other color. In the spring, when things get dried out, the decks are going to be colored or stained the same color as this. And then then we're still gonna have the black trim, which is going to go with the black eavesdropping and, you know, the other black trim that we've got going on the house here. So now I told you how I was decided to how long to make these and where to put them. And so what I have here around my trim, the gray trim, is 6 inch, so it's 5.5. And so what I did was I set the edge of the shutter halfway on the board, so you can see here between, so there and there and there and there, so it's 2 3/4 from the edge to there. And so then I also went 2 3/4 up from the bottom and 2 3/4 from the top. And so that's how I kind of figured my proportions, and that's, you know, that's the proportions that I wanted to do to make it so that you get a little bit of overlap over the window, but not covering all of the trim. You know, we still have some trim that we can see there around the edge of the window. Yeah, I'll just walk you around here. And so this is what it looks on this side. So this is the living room window here now. And the way I attach them is in the middle of each batten here. So I've come in 1.5 inches, and then in the middle of the batten, which is 1 inch, so it's a 2-inch batten. So this screw is at 1 inch here, and I've done every batten. So this has got 3 screws each place, and what I used there was I used 2.5 inch deck screws, those coated ones for ACQ. So ACQ means it's for this treated wood, so that won't corrode those screws. And then what I did was I just spray painted them with a bronze paint so that they matched the stain color. Okay, so I had 4 windows that were all the same size. So this dining room window, this living room window, and then around the corner, the one in the front bedroom there, and then the master bedroom, they're all the same size. And at the back here, where I have this little ensuite bath window, like I said, I scaled this one down a little bit because it's a much smaller window, so I just went with 2 boards there, and yeah, just so it's not so big. Kind of fits a little bit better with that smaller window. And so over here we've got the master bedroom window, okay, and then that's the kitchen window. So little design tricks that you can do to fool the eye. So, you know, here we have a building that's 66 feet long, so we have this really long horizontal line on the siding, you know, from end to end, and it makes it look really long. So if you can introduce lines, vertical lines, what that does is it tricks the eye into making it look like it's taller and not such a long, boring wall. And so the lines in the shutter help to do that, and then the different color helps to do that. And then once we get our railing installed here, it's going to have the vertical lines as well, which are going to help you know, to make it look taller and not so long. Takes away that long look. All right, folks, so I shopped around for these shutters, and you know, I've got 4 of that size, so that's roughly a 4-foot shutter there. Now I couldn't get exactly the length of shutter that I wanted to fit, you know, that dimension up and down. So, you know, by making my own, I could make it the size that I wanted. You know, same thing here. But cost-wise, you know, a shutter to fit that window, if you buy it from a place like Wayfair or you know, Amazon, I think has them, or some of the building centers, the prices that I was seeing was, you know, $230, $240 Canadian a set. You know, and then you're getting something that's not custom. It's not exactly like that. You know, you're not going to see any other shutters like this around, unless they're on a home that I've done. So, you know, you know, about, we'll say $250 with tax and delivery and all of that. The materials for this cost me, for all 6 windows, was about $300. So, you know, for just a little bit more than the price of 1 shutter, I did all 6. And so, you know, you can save some money on it. It's an easy job to do. You know, certainly any you know, skilled DIYer can do this. You know, and I showed you how to do it there. There's nothing really difficult about it, but yeah, I think it creates the look that I wanted to, you know, to do here. Just you know, a little bit more, take away just sort of kind of plain, you know, even with the trim on the window, it was kind of plain, and it just sort of you know, just makes it look a little bit more interesting. And yeah, so that's how I did that, folks. So we're gonna call this one a wrap, and thanks for watching. And I've started on the bathrooms. I'm inside now. This actually took me a while to get this all done. We had some cold weather here. I've had these ready for a while, and today was just kind of the first day in several weeks that was, you know, kind of nice enough to get out here and get this done. But I've been working inside, so the next videos coming up are going to be showing the bathroom on the inside, where I've got one completely redone, like ready for tape. It's not completely finished, but it's, you know, ready. It's got the plumbing changed and all that stuff in it. So that's what I'm working on now, folks. All right, so thanks for watching. Bye bye.